wish these two candles matched my curtains better. Oh no! I dropped my phone. But wait, how did that happen? I don't know. Probably magic. Actually, there was no magic. I crocheted these candle covers, and if you want to do the same, I recommend watching this video. Okay, so this is the candle that we're yassifying, I guess. This is the yarn that I'm using. Not to gatekeep, but it was supplied by my grandma, so I have no idea where it's from. We're gonna start by making a chain, and we want this chain to be long enough to wrap around the candle. So make a slip knot and chain until you reach a length that fits tightly around your candle. If the chain is too loose, then the cover will just slip right off your candle and you will become very sad because you just sat in bed crocheting for 3 hours straight for nothing. At this point you may be questioning, is it a fire hazard if I light this candle with the cover on? Well, I have no idea. But if your house does catch on fire, hold on, what's in the video right now is important, we'll come back to that later. Right here I was testing if the chain fit around my candle and I realized my original chain was way too loose, so I had to undo a few stitches. Unless if you're an absolute beast at crocheting, you'll probably have to do this too, because who actually ever crochets something right the first time? I don't. This video is my second attempt of me crocheting a candle cover, because the first one was way too big, so take that starting chain really seriously. This is my properly sized chain and we are going to be working in the rounds for this project. So take the end of your chain and insert your hook into the very first chain you made at the beginning. Then make a slip stitch by yarning over and pulling through both loops on your hook. At this moment, you'll want to double check that your chain fits over your candle so you're not fooled like I previously was. And lucky for me, it does! Now for this project, we're using a stitch called the knot stitch. To start it off, chain 1 and insert your hook into where we just made the slip stitch, this space here. Insert your hook into this space and then pull up a loop. I'm also carrying over my yarn for this project so I don't have to weave in these ends later. Ignore the loops on your hook for now, and insert your hook into the next stitch. Then pull up another loop. Yarn over and pull through every loop on your hook. Now insert your hook into the stitch we just finished and pull up a loop. Then insert your hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So once again, insert your hook into the stitch we just finished. Pull up a loop. Insert your hook into the very next stitch. Pull up a loop. Then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Again, insert your hook into the stitch we just finished, pull up a loop. Insert your hook into the next stitch. Pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through all loops on your hook. We're going to repeat this stitch for the rest of the round. Anyways, back to what I was saying before. If your house catches on fire, it's okay because you'll get to meet some very nice firemen, and many crocheters such as myself do not get these great socializing opportunities. And the other day I was watching videos of firefighters saving cats from burning buildings, as one does, and so many people in these videos did not thank the firefighters once. So if you do meet them, please make sure to thank them for their services. By the way, did you know that most firefighters are volunteers? And since they're volunteers, they don't get paid an hourly wage. I looked it up, and apparently most volunteer firefighters get paid $2 per call. You're telling me these firefighters are getting paid $2 to save people and their cats, and still no one thanks them? Well, anyways, hopefully your house doesn't catch on fire, because that would be really bad. It might be wise to just take the cover off while lighting a candle. But at the same time, people put lighters on their acrylic yarn to get rid of yarn fuzzies, and somehow it doesn't catch on fire, so I really don't know. When we get to the end of the round, we will not be slip stitching or chaining or anything like that because it will make a weird crease on the back of your project. So we will be continuing the knot stitch as is for every round. For the last time, make sure your project fits on your candle. I know it's annoying, but I'm trying to prevent you from the suffering I went through. Once you're done, place a stitch marker over your last knot stitch so you can tell where this... Oh my god. Okay, I don't know if you heard that, but there are birds in my fireplace and I record my voiceovers in my basement and they keep trying to break in and it's really scary and oh my god. Okay, I think they're gone. So what I was trying to say is put a stitch marker at your last stitch when you're done. Make knot stitches for the rest of the round. I don't have any more stories to tell besides those birds, so I'm going to entertain you with icebreakers for the next sped up portion of this video. What is your favorite hobby? I wonder. Crochet? Nah, I've never crocheted in my life. I'd say my favorite hobby is probably bathing tigers. If you could magically become fluent in any language, what would it be? Well, first I would become fluent in birds so I could tell these birds to get the fuck out of here. But then, secondly, I would become fluent in Spanish because I have a 240-day streak on Duolingo and I still only know very basic phrases and I have a horrible accent and it's embarrassing. Now we are at the end of the round and we are simply going to continue the knot stitch and then replace the stitch marker. Continue doing rounds of the knot stitch until you reach about 3/4 up the candle. I'm going to keep going until I reach this sticker here, where I will then add a pretty border on top of it. Now, watch this beautiful jump cut video I made of me following these same instructions. Please stop! Go away! Be careful when you try to open your candle with the cover on it because it may try to assassinate you, like it did to me right here and like I'm about to do to these birds. Anyways, what I wanted to show you was what the candle cover should look like before you add your border on top. Now, I unfortunately fell mercy to the color changing yarn I was using, so the color abruptly changes at the top, but it's okay because I ended up really liking it. Declothe your candle and get ready because it's border time. Make a final knot stitch, but instead of yarning over and pulling through, take the first loop on the hook and pull it through the other ones. Now to start the border, first take a break to change your music. Then chain 2, skip a stitch, and make a half double crochet. Again, chain 2, skip a stitch, half double crochet. Repeat this sequence for the rest of the row. At the end of the row, slip stitch into the top of the first 2 chains you made. Then we are going to add a shell stitch on top of that. So into that same slip stitch, insert a single crochet, a treble crochet, so yarn over twice, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn through 2, yarn through 2, and yarn through the last 2 stitches. Then another single crochet. This is all into the very same stitch. Then skip to the next 2 chain posts from the previous row and once again insert a single crochet, a treble crochet, and another single crochet all into the same stitch. Repeat this for the rest of the row. When you finish the row, slip stitch to the bottom of the post. Then fasten off your crochet project, and for most people this will be your finished crochet candle holder. Very nice, very eloquent. But because my colors changed at the very end, I went back and made another knot row at the bottom in the new color to make the candle cover look more organized. But you do not have to do this. And here's what the finished project looks like. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and please subscribe.